This incident happened when I was around 10 years old. Every half term, we would have a week off from school, and it's very common for families to go on safari in places like Tsavo or Masai Mara as I was living in Kenya, Africa. It was basically like a tradition for my family to go with this other family since they had a camp which they were trying to develop at the same time near Tsavo National Park. And it was perfect because you didn't have to pay for the park entrance fee, which costs $90 per day. Since this camp was on the border of the national park, you could see everything, like lions, leopards, buffaloes, elephants, whatever things without paying a cent. So on a Friday afternoon, my dad filled up his Land Rover with all the necessities like beer, steaks, water, some sodas, and we started to follow the other family's car to Tsavo. If you were really lucky, you can get there within 4 hours, but most of the time it took almost 8 hours. Because there was just one road to get there, and since I was living in a developing country, the traffic was like a hell. So we finally got there in the middle of the evening. My dad was really eager to set up a barbecue for the steaks and have a bit of wild time with the other adults while I and my friend with her younger brother were playing on the picnic table. The camp was very basic style. It had mud huts with mosquito netting windows just to protect us a little bit from the mosquitoes, but the bathrooms were outside in the open without much privacy. And there were a couple of rangers taking turns to walk around the camp, just to make sure that the electric fence was working right and the entrance to the camp was clear. So while my dad was grilling at the barbecue, one of the rangers, who I've known since I was a toddler, came to us and told about the safari horror stories. It was how a leopard dragged its prey in one of these rooms, or how he got his various deep scars from wild animals, something like this. After he told us this, he shone his flashlight towards the darkness beyond the electric fence. I could see various reflecting eyes, some smaller, some larger. As a kid, I was terrified, but the adults were continuing their conversation. Around 11 p.m., I decided to go to the bathroom. With my flashlight, I could see there were loads of scorpions on the ground. As I was walking down the path to the bathrooms, I shone my light towards the fence, and I saw the back of the lion behind the bushes, which means they were much closer to us than what we had expected. I rushed back without peeing and told my parents and the rangers what I saw, and the rangers sent us off to our designated rooms immediately. I was in the hut with my friend and her family, and my dad was with my stepmom. Each parent had a walkie-talkie that had direct contact with the rangers. During that night, I could hear the commotion through the walkie-talkies, but I just shrugged it off. Around 1 a.m., I was dying to pee, so I woke my friend's dad to go with me because obviously I was terrified to go by myself. Trying his best to reassure me, he said that I couldn't go right now. I couldn't understand why he said that, so I kept questioning why. As I was getting frustrated that I couldn't hold it any longer, his walkie-talkie was suddenly on and we could clearly hear the ranger's urgent voice. "Sir, do not leave your room. There is a lion right in front of your hut's door." We then both froze. I could hear grunting with the occasional lion's call. For those who have never been on safari or have never heard a lion's calling, when it is that close to you, you can feel the roar vibrating your bones. I was in so much shock that I couldn't even cry. I held my breath for what felt like an eternity, and well, to tell the truth, I even peed myself a little bit at that time. Then we heard scratching and sniffing from under the door, which caused my friend to wake up and start screaming. When she was about to scream, her dad immediately covered her mouth to try to make it as silent as possible and calm her down. We all realized that this situation could end badly. We were in a small mud hut with bunk beds, and just behind the door was an over 190-kilogram lion being curious to see what's inside. Suddenly, we hear gunshots. I guess it was from the rangers. And then there was a silence, maybe about 5 minutes. All I could hear was the cricket in the far distance. Abruptly, the walkie-talkie started with one of the rangers' voices that the lion which got scared from the gunshots had left the camp. However, they also told there was still one other lion around the camp, so they were searching for it to drive it out. At that moment, I heard my stepmom screaming from the top of her lungs in company with gunshots. That's when we started to worry, so my friend's dad was constantly talking with the rangers to figure out if she was safe. Luckily, nothing happened to her. It turned out that she woke up because of the first set of gunshots. And when she was about to go back to sleep, she saw the lion with 2 glancing eyes and a black mane staring from outside the mosquito window at her, which caused her to scream. Eventually, the lion ran away from the place, being surprised at the second gunshot by the rangers. We were able to come back safely from the camp. However, I've been gotten goosebumps whenever I think about that incident. I'm just glad that I didn't try to go out by myself.